Morning from Vietnam. My name is Ngoc Lien. It's my great honor to make a presentation today. It is entitled Discourse Competence, a key to enhancing IELTS scores for Vietnamese students. I am currently working at Haiphong University of Management. As far as you may know, discourse analysis and its applications have become more pervasive in not only pedagogic studies, as mentioned by McCarthy 2001, Salmercia and Austin 2000 and 2005, Tran 2014, but also communication skill training courses, as Bachman 1990, Senarova 2021 claimed, and language testing and assessment highlighted in Sohami 1990, Bachman and Palmer 2010, Iwashita 2015. This research aimed to examine the effect of incorporating discourse study in an IELTS-oriented class to examine how discourse competence development influenced the learner's language testing competence. The study was set to elaborate what discourse competence was, what competence were applied to be in a discourse-based syllabus, what might cause obstacle and what benefit the learners during the intervention, and how to incorporate a discourse knowledge funnel in an existing language program. IELTS test taker was selected as the sample due to the reliability and validity of the test and the growing ubiquity of this exam worldwide and in Vietnam. I do hope that a better understanding of this field of study will contribute to the existing literature of discourse study and its didactic application of the improvement in English language teaching. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to start with what discourse is. Structurally, discourse is a stretch of coherent language unit larger than a sentence. According to the ideas of Harris 1952, Stubb 1983, Crystal 1992, and Patrick 2006. However, functionally, discourse is language in use, like the idea stated by Cook 1989, Brown and June 1983, Van Dyck 1997, and G 2011. Another concept I suppose we should look into is discourse analysis. Structurally, according to Harris 1952 and Van Dyck 1985, discourse analysis is structural description discourse attribute to examine different units, categories, schematic patterns, or relations. From functional perspective, discourse analysis is the study of language in its context of use and above the level of sentence or idea or how they are articulated. Stated by Farson 1990, Brown and June 1983, Van Dyck 1997, or Flodil 2013. If structurally considered, discourse competence is defined as the ability to put different units, say words, phrases, and sentences, into a well-formed, well-connected, and comprehensible text, as indicated by Canal 1983, Salmercia 2008, Norquist 2020. However, functionally, discourse competence is a constitutive component of communicative competence, as stated by Savigan 1983, Davis 1999, Sandarova 2021. Being defined in such a way, discourse competence has proved itself fundamental in the literature of English teaching and learning. According to Sass and Martin in 2005, the mastery of discourse competence facilitated the integration of the four skills in language teaching. It could speaking skill of L2 students, as Vũ and Nguyen 2021 stated. This capability supported the process of English learning as it enabled the learner know how to structure a text and connect ideas to generate a coherent piece of writing. As stated by Martiso and Tansey 2023, Hellerman and Virgin 2007, and therefore enhance students' writing skill. Evgelinova 2019, Lee 2000. Important as it is, To successfully incorporate discourse study in an IELTS-oriented courses, it is necessary to identify what components to be included to help students develop their discourse competence. As you can see in the provided table, Sal Mercier in 1995 mentioned 5 major components, including cohesion, diacetic, coherence, generic structure, and conversational structure. Brown and June in 1983 highlighted also 5 main components, but also a bit different. They are context and context, topic and discourse content, coherence and cohesion, staging, information structure. McCarthy in 1999 referred to the relation between discourse and grammar, discourse and vocabulary, discourse and phonology, and discourse features in spoken language and written language. In this study, the researcher selected adapted the approach provided by McCarthy, examining 5 domains including discourse and grammar, discourse and vocabulary, discourse and phonology, coherence, and conversation analysis, expecting that the basic knowledge of discourse empower IELTS test taker to perform better. This study aimed to examine the effect of discourse competence developments on IELTS test taker performance. It was expected to contribute to the existing literature of discourse study and its didactic application and the improvement of English language teaching. To conduct the study, the researcher raised 2 research questions. The first one, to what extent does the development of discourse competence improve students' IELTS score? And the second one, what are the student attitudes toward the incorporation of discourse analysis in an IELTS-oriented course? The current research lasted for 12 weeks with the participation of 60 students. 3 data collection instruments was used. They are pre-test, post-test, and a survey questionnaires, and a semi-structured interviewed. So there are 4 main stages in the research procedures. In the planning stage, the researchers evaluated and selected the paradigm for the fundamental discourse components. In the acting stage, the incorporation of a discourse study in an IELTS course, adapting the 6-step procedure proposed by Perbandiro 1994 was carried out. In the observing stage, tests, a survey questionnaires, and a semi-structured interview was used to collect data for analysis and observation. Finally, in the reflecting stage, the researchers had action to address the problems and improve the situation. From data analysis, the first finding was obtained from the test score. It is noted that both control and experimental students improved their score. However, the experimental group scored much higher. Additionally, the receptive and listening skills saw higher score increases than the productive skill. As can be seen from the table, reading scores experienced the biggest increase with the control group gaining by about 1.2 and the experimental one achieving a higher rate of 1.7. Listening score reported the second biggest rise of 1 for the former and 1.4 for the latter. The 2 productive skill, writing and speaking, experienced less significant improvement in student performance. The writing result of the control group was about 0.9, while those of experimental 1 were more or less than 1.4. A bigger disparity could be observed in the speaking test scores as the controlled and the experimental groups reported an upsurge of 0.7 and 0.4 in turns. When it comes to the survey, we first have a look at the impacts of discourse competence development on speaking skill. It is clear that using grammatical cohesive devices supported them in creating well-connected and meaningful tasks. Equal to 4.27, SD 0.49, and enhanced speaking performance. 4.27. SD is equal to 0.49. Turning to the impacts of the discourse competence development. Next comes the relation between discourse competence development and reading skill. Student agrees that the ability to envisage the use of synonyms or antonyms in the reading text enable them to locate the answer faster. M is equal to 4.2, SD 0.56. When they apply the techniques of top-down and bottom-up processing, sequencing, and inferencing, they could better their reading comprehension. M.4 and SD 0.55. So the most striking findings are about the influence of Discourse competence developments on listening skill according to student opinions. First, they agree that being familiar with control schemata enable them to grasp the gist of a listening activity more easily. M equal to 4.2 and SD 0.55. Second, as for them, knowing in advance the presence of tones and tone taking, as well as adjacency pairs in interaction, consolidated their self-confidence in a listening task. Third, being well informed about discourse markers better they keep track of the information flowed in a conversation. 4.4 SD 0.5. And finally, their knowledge about modality and shared background knowledge bettered the prediction for listening answer. 4.1 and SD 0.45. The survey also revealed some facts about strengths and weaknesses in incorporating discourse study into IELTS course. On the one hand, this act is beneficial because the survey finding was coincide with the interview that DCD had positive impacts on student performance. Another idea is that students agree that DCD was helpful, beneficial, or okay, and they also have the awareness of DCD accelerated writing speech, better speaking coherence and cohesion, and improved listening comprehension. Nevertheless, there are some downsides we need to consider. The first are the intrinsic problems, including motivation and student competence. The second are the extrinsic problems, which are theoretical concept complexity, time pressure, and teachers' competence. From the findings, we can realize that the survey results show that a majority of participants agree with the positive impacts of the intervention. They place a high value on the role of coherence and cohesion devices in enhancing their test performance, as indicated by Davis 1999 and Lee 2000, who highlighted the role of coherence in writing tests. The student furthermore supported the incorporation and its influence on the improvement of their language skill, as discourse competence is an integral part of communicative competence. Same as Sao Mercier, 1995, Wu and Nguyen, 2021, Sandarova, 2021, Laser, 2023. What's more, the survey findings coincide with the interview from which we realized that students appreciated the application of discourse-based syllabus. They agree that this knowledge funnel was helpful, student 2, constructive, student 5, beneficial, student 1 and 4, and okay, student 3. The student admitted that their score changed positively after the intervention, student 1, 2, 4, and 5. They could be better aware of the presence of discourse properties in the reading text. Student 2, the role of cohesive devices in improving the quality of the writing paper by student 1, 4, and 5. The possibility of accelerating their reading, writing, and speaking performance if they are provided with the technique of processing a text. Student 4 and 5. The ability to locate the listening answer by paying attention to discourse markers, all 5 students, and interpret the listening message thanks to the realization of tone, rhythm, and intonational units by student 2 and student 4. These statistical findings align with the interview's result because participants did not have enough time to spend on this task. Student 1, 2, 4, and 5. They just wanted to focus on the IELTS mock test and practice test papers. Student 3. So they are unwilling to learn discourse-related theory. Student 3. They said boosting vocabulary retention was problematic, let alone learning theoretical concepts in discourse study. Students 2, 3, and 5. The interviewee stated frankly that their teachers sometimes felt confused and failed to explain the discourse-related theory straightforwardly and effectively. Student 3 and 4. The finding also suggested that good preparation for the incorporation was necessary and the instruction for specific features of discourse were preferred, like Tran and Ellis stated in 2003. There are also some suggestions and implications I would like to put forth. First, the intervention is not an easy task to do because of time constraint. Generally, an IELTS-oriented class is a crammed course in which students study intensively and laboriously. Also, it is solely an extracurricular commitment, and third, cannot garner full attention from students. The division of effort, brain power, and time may impede student competent development. The program, if expected to be fruitful, should be well prepared and integrated into the official English teaching curriculum at school. Second, theoretical concepts and numeric discourse paradigm are never simple for the novice. For those who aim to score low on an IELTS test, say 4.5 or 5, learning English basics is the optimal goal, so getting discourse knowledge is deemed trivial. This fact concerns researchers about when to apply this didactic intervention, what is selected, and who is the beneficiary. Third, the accomplishment of pedagogical program depends primarily on the practitioners, both the giver and the takers. So for the intervention, teachers should be the pioneer master who are competent enough to deliver the course, attentive to address the arising problems, and inspiring to captivate the student in a mundane course as such. However, there is still a concern and a question awaiting satisfactory answer as indicated by the sample student in the survey and the interview. Despite some fundamental findings, we acknowledge that there are some limitations of this study. First, it is focused on IELTS students in general, did not focus on the level of student competence and the demand for IELTS score requirement, low or high. Moreover, there is not sufficient evidence about how the competence of teachers and students may affect the incorporation of discourse study into IELTS courses. Therefore, it is recommended that study be conducted further on the effectiveness of incorporating discourse study in an IELTS low-score course, and that study be implemented to examine the impact of teachers and student competence on the task of incorporating discourse study in IELTS classes. So that's all about my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.